Yeah.
So every moment that you are learning, your brain is physically changing. And so when you get to the slightly harder stuff, you've got different neural networks that are prepared now for harder stuff. Hi, and welcome everyone to Live Support with Odile for changing negative implicit childhood memories using the Remmert method. We've created this forum for those who've watched our YouTube videos or read our book and need personal help, but aren't in a position to do one-to-one sessions. So if you're new to the Remmert method, or if you'd like to be put on the list to work with me in these sessions, check the link in the description of this video for details on that. So first up today, we have Swasti. Hi, Swasti. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Okay, so I kind of have like two questions, but one is like a general question. So like when you're waiting for a result and when you like don't know what you want, what are you supposed to do in that meantime?
Can you give me an example so that I understand what you mean?
Yeah, so
Ah,
when basically with this degree, like I don't know if this is my end result. Like as in I don't know if I want to like work as a doctor for I want to get to a certain point where I have like the degree and the foundation years, but I don't know if that's what I want to do going ahead. So that's one example. So that's me waiting for a result. But I don't know if that's also something, if that's bad, because I don't enjoy the moment. I'm just waiting for the future. I'm just like, oh yeah, this will be exciting. When I get to this point, this will be freedom.
okay, very interesting. All right. So the analogy that came to me is, have you ever been shopping for things that you don't know yet what they are, but you're going shopping and you're going to see what there is. And when you get there, you then go, oh, that's nice. I'll have that. And
I get the analogy. I haven't done it
so,
myself. I get the analogy. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'm not a big shopper myself, but it's that idea of you don't need to know exactly what it is
Yeah.
in order to enjoy it when you find it or when you get to that place.
Right.
So if you think of it more as an adventure than a task that has to be completed. So if you were going traveling around the world, you would be going to those places to experience them, right?
Yeah.
You would be going to a place to experience the culture, and you wouldn't know exactly what to expect
Hmm.
until you got there. You wouldn't know who you were going to meet until you got there.
Yeah.
And so the anticipation or the looking forward to the thing is absolutely great. And you can also enjoy the journey there. So for example, you could get on, one of those big jumbo jets and you're going to Hawaii or a place that you want to visit, and you can
Yeah.
enjoy every moment. You can enjoy being on the airplane, you can enjoy watching the movies, you can enjoy the food or reading a book or whatever you're doing along the way.
Mm.
And then when you get to Hawaii, that's not where you're staying either. So you'll
Hmm.
enjoy Hawaii. And then after that, then you may move on to somewhere else, and that's okay. So looking at being a doctor as your final destination is
Yeah.
not, you don't need to do that. You can go, well, that's part of my experience. That's part
Yeah.
of what I'm enjoying about life. Does
Hmm.
that make sense a little bit?
It makes sense, but I think this is where the sticking point is. I know some people can really do that, and I know that. Like I could see it in people. I can't
Okay.
do like I
Okay.
always had like some form of end goal, the hustle grind kind of thing in me that like I
Yeah.
always need something at the end. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't find it easy to like enjoy the moment.
Okay, so let's look at that because that's a program, of course, and that can be changed if you
Yeah.
want to change it. So, and I kind of have a vague idea of where that program may be coming from. But let's look at what we want to achieve first to make sure that that's in alignment, and then we'll how to do it. We can get there. So, how would you feel if you were able to do that. In other words, you were able to enjoy your life and look forward to it, and you have goals along the way, but it doesn't have to be one thing, and you are able to enjoy the process. How would that feel?
I don't know how it would feel, but I know how I want it to feel. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
And how's that?
So I watched this like YouTuber and she just enjoys her life. She like quit her job and she just like does YouTube full time. And I love that because she's like, this is what I enjoy. And her days are very just like get up, edit videos, go to a cafe, and that's it. I love the idea of it because it's so simple and she takes joy in little things. And I want to have joy in little things. You know, like I need to
Okay.
always be doing big things to get joy out of them.
Right. Yes,
That's
very good.
like, mm,
Okay, so we can get you there. And the reason you always have to have big thing or achieve big things is, of course, because that's how you were conditioned as a child.
yeah.
Your survival depended on you achieving big things,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Big to you at that time. You have to do better. Always have to be striving to do better. And if I remember correctly, there was, even when you were doing well, there would be a way to make you feel you've got to do more.
Yeah.
It wasn't good enough, or you still have to sit and wait.
Yeah.
So that makes sense, right? So this person, this YouTuber that you're talking about, he's obviously got different childhood references. Now, if
Yeah.
you had the childhood references and experiences that she had, how would you be seeing your life right now? Or how would you be feeling about your future, your life right now?
I'd feel excited. I'd feel really excited because this is a moment I've worked up to as well. And yes, it's not all about working up to the moment, like you just said, but still, I have still worked up to the moment. And not in physical ways, in emotional ways as well. So yeah, it's
Yes,
something to
absolutely.
enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the goal. And,
Mhm.
we know that literally if you'd had her childhood, you'd be feeling that way. Now, and
Yeah.
of course, the fantastic thing is we know we can change childhoods. So that's the aim. You want to end up with the childhood that she had or similar, those kinds of references.
Mhm.
Does that
Yeah.
sound good? All right, very good. So now that we've got the logic on board, the conscious mind on board, now we can look at creating that specifically. Have you ever enjoyed small things at all? Like anything at all?
Yeah, like I literally I do every day and I try to, but I'm very aware I'm doing it. Like it doesn't come naturally, that's what I mean. So like, like
Oh,
sitting down at the end of the evening with tea and your favorite show, or like, talking to family, like coming home, like those are such nice things,
good.
little small, yeah. But like I
Okay.
can't fully enjoy that moment. Like I want to fully, like make a meal of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, first of all, well done for that awareness and well done for doing it intentionally because it starts with that anyway. So, that's great that you have been doing that. So, now let me ask you, or what happens when you try to enjoy it fully?
I think I'm just very aware of like what is happening next or like what the
Yeah,
future holds. Yeah, like it's literally December and I'm thinking about exams in July, like most of the day. So that kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah. And that's your survival mechanism because you've got that hyper alert, um, hypervigilance. So let's address that. Let's go right down to drill down. So you get home and let's take the first thing you mentioned, which is cup of tea with your favorite TV show.
Mhm.
All right. So I want you to put yourself in that moment. And as you're in that moment, can you give me an example of something that comes to your mind? And you can use something that did come to your mind or just something similar.
Yeah, so it's hypervigilance about the future. And then it kind of rolls. It takes like a slippery slope pretty quick. So it's like when I get home, I have very few hours. Like I get home at 6 and I have to be awake at 6 the next day. So I'm like, oh, I have very little time right now. And this is just for a few more weeks. After that, I will be back to coming home at 4:30, which will be good. So I'm like, I have very few hours. I need to do this, 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 this. And then it takes a loop of like, oh, if I don't get this done now, I won't get this done this week, and then this month, and then the next month, and then the exams are coming, and this needs to happen, and this needs to happen, all of that. Like it's not that bad in the moment, but I think like the back of my mind is always going on.
Okay. All right. And as you think of that feeling, so if I don't get this done today, I'm not going to get it done this week, and so on, that feeling right there, can you remember what it feels like?
It's not that bad when I think about it, so I don't know what the issue is.
Okay. Yeah, it's because it's not from now. That's why. But my question was going to be if you can identify that feeling or if you can remember it, what comes to mind from childhood of that same feeling?
Yeah, I've tried looking that so many times. I don't know.
Okay. Let me ask you something else now. As you think of your childhood right now, what's the first thing that pops into your head? And don't filter, whatever it is, just even if you don't think it's relevant.
I think it's like chaos amongst people. Yeah, there's no sense of unity or connection. It was just like people's opinions constantly differing. And I see like a scene of like constant argument and
Ah,
conflict. Yeah, like so people are very zen now in my childhood, we the thing you said about the hippies and stuff. Like that is
yeah.
very much there, which I love, and I can feel that
Okay.
I've embodied that in myself. But like when
Yeah.
it comes to people, there's always conflict, and I mean like emotional conflict sometimes in my own head, not even physically.
Yes. Okay, so this is perfect. So you've got the basis, the foundation of it there. That's great. The new foundation. Now, when you say people, are you meaning your family or is it other people?
Both. I think there were disagreements in between family members because even in between like into family, there was a lot of levels. So like
Okay.
people are more rich or people are more poor. People are
Right.
more like they don't do anything all day. People grind all day, you know? There was no
Oh,
like
right.
baseline. And then again with other people there was always like trust issues and all sorts of stuff.
Okay. And just to check this, what would it be like if you could replace all of those disagreements and arguments and clashes and what have you between family members and between everybody with a table tennis tournament? Meaning every disagreement or clash or argument is replaced with those people playing table tennis.
That's okay, but what happens to like the words?
First of all, we want the feeling of there's an energy, there's a heightened energy, but it's competition and fun instead of a negative thing. So that the excitement of table tennis game replaces the energy of that replaces the energy of the clashing. And then let's look at the words. And if that doesn't work for you, I've got other ideas. So,
No, no, no. I just didn't understand it. It makes sense.
all right. So people are laughing and teasing each other. In other words, we're turning the aggressiveness or the negativity of an argument into fun teasing and trash talking kind of thing, but in a funny way.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see it, but I still don't understand about the words.
Okay. Now we look at the words. So what kind of words are coming to your mind?
So I think a lot of the family kind of isolated themselves to just the family instead of
Mhm.
connecting. So I mean, like my family, as in mum, dad, did not
Right.
connect with like uncles and aunties because it
Oh.
became very much like, so there were like money issues and betrayal issues and all of that. That's what I mean. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. The emotional and physical side doesn't make sense. Like table tennis, fine, but it's like all of
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't go away.
Okay. And would Monopoly work? So what we want to do is we want to reframe in a way. So the money and that, so that we're taking the arguments about you took my money or whatever that is, and it's about a board game.
Does that work?
Well, that's what we're checking. If you feel like you can imagine that, we'll address any resistance and that kind of thing. But as far as the unconscious part of the brain works, there is no logical reason or unrealistic, can't judge
Mm,
it something as unrealistic. So certainly the unconscious part of your brain is not going to go, no, but that's just a board game. That's not possible or anything like that. Only your conscious mind will do that.
okay.
If you're happy with the idea of that, if we can do it, then we'll break it down to specifics to change to make it fit.
Okay. So the general feeling is excitement and just fun. It's just like
Yeah,
when you get money, like in Monopoly, it's like ha ha ha. Like it's fun. You have enough, but it's just a game.
that's what we want.
Okay.
And if you can picture the table and the
Mm,
people around it, and somebody gets up to get a cup of tea, so it's the whole environment is calm and fun.
yeah, I can see all of that, but like my mind is not buying into how a board game is going to change that conflict. Because
Okay, very
it's
good.
like, oh, this is separate, but the actual reality is separate too.
All right, let's look at that. And of course, the answer to that is none of it's real right now. This is
Yeah,
all just neurons connecting.
yeah,
So a board game can replace another event as far as the unconscious part of the brain is concerned, because it's just firing neurons in a different way. It's only the
yeah.
conscious mind that goes, that doesn't make sense. But that's okay, because we'll answer all of these things. So when you say the board game, you can see it, but you don't know how it changed the original event. Tell me what it is that is standing out for you from the original event that seems to be like this bit won't change or something like that.
It's the general feeling of it's like you had an argument with someone and they had an argument with you, and now we're not talking, or like
Okay.
now we're on bad terms.
All right. And how does that feel for you?
It's so I can't describe the feeling, but I know the feeling.
All right. And is it any particular people or is this just a general thing?
N- Like I know the people, as in this is my family's dynamic. Like this is how it is.
And this
Yeah.
is your parents specifically with their siblings?
And so like parents with like my grandma's like brother or grandma's sister who are more
Oh,
rich, like the uncles and aunties, like all of that.
oh, right. So let's drill down to that. Pick the players in mind, the people who are in this scenario. Your grandmother's sister, right? And sister and
Yeah,
brother or something, and your parents. And I want you to put them in the same room and they're
yeah.
looking at each other. And what's the expression on their faces?
This is it. This is bad. Yeah. This was not because different they have different levels in the family, like I was saying. So like
Wow.
there was like a hierarchy. It was like they're really rich and they live in the city. My grandma lives in
Okay.
the village. So my dad grew up in the village.
And how did they become very rich and your grandmother didn't?
So arranged marriage. My grandma just ended up in a bad place and the sister ended up in a really good place by luck.
Ah, interesting. So that's another piece that may be in the background of the whole arranged marriage thing as well.
Yeah.
Because not only is an arranged marriage, does an arranged marriage mean you may end up with someone that you're not in love with or not happy with, it can completely determine the standard of living,
Yeah.
all of that. Okay, very good. So, what would have happened if their experience had been reversed? In other words, it was your grandmother who ended up in arranged marriage to a very wealthy person, and her siblings were in the village. What would that have been like, do you think?
I've changed a bit of this, so it's weird that
Mhm.
well, okay, it's okay that it's come up again. So I can
Yeah.
see my grandma with my grandpa now, like her husband now, and they had a great time. Like it was
Good.
amazing. They were like relaxing all day. They did the things they wanted to do. It's exactly how I feel about this YouTuber that I was saying. So it's the exact same
Good.
feeling. But like I haven't reversed the role, so it's just my grandma I did. I didn't do the other one.
Okay. So, what would it be like if you did that? Would it feel different in some way?
Now I feel like both just enjoy their life wherever they are. They'd be
That's
fine. Yeah.
that's what we want. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is it possible to imagine that?
I can. Yeah, I can see that.
Good. Very good. Okay. So, if that's the case, now how does it feel when they're in the same room?
That's so much better. Yeah. That's good. There's no conflict anymore. Yeah.
Very good. So, you want to practice that over and over, establish those new neural networks, those new references. Okay, so let's just come back now to you get home at 6 and you're going to enjoy your TV show with your cup of tea. And how does that feel now?
It's better for sure. Yeah.
Good.
I think a part
And
of what people didn't say was also I need to do the same for my aunties because it was the same
oh,
for them.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. I'll do
good,
that later.
good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, do it for whoever was in that situation. Yeah. Very good. And do that across the board. And then what we're aiming for is that you know what needs to be done. So you get home at 6 and you've got certain things that do need to be done today, and then other things that can be done tomorrow or next week or whatever. And you're able to look at that objectively and go, okay, I can do that, and then that I'll do next week or whatever. And it's strategic and it's not out of fear or worry or anxiety,
Yeah.
right? And then you're able to go, okay, so I'll do that and that. And now I'm going to sit down and have a cup of tea and watch my favorite show. And then you're able to be in the moment. Now, part of the resistance to that, or the sort of interference for that, will be habit as well. So
Mhm.
if you find, so you've changed those memories, you've established them, you're able to go, yes, okay, so things need to be done, I'll do those, and now I'm going to watch my TV show with a cup of tea. And then as you do that, you may still find the thoughts coming that used to come before. And it's important to answer them in that moment because they may just be coming up out of habit. And so you don't want to then join in with them. You want to go, you want to answer it and go, it's okay. I've got a list. I know what I'm doing. And then immediately play the new childhood memories
Mhm.
so that you are connecting the ability to enjoy your TV show with the safety in childhood. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I forget to do
Good.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. So that, and for everybody, that's very important. It's an important piece that's easy to forget. So we change childhood memories, we practice them, and then we move on. But it's important to keep redirecting your brain back to those childhood memories in the moment when you start experiencing the old tendencies.
Yeah.
How does that
Mhm.
sound?
Sounds good. But I think like also I had this thing in the back of my head, this ongoing thought. It was like every academic year is so different, and as soon as I get used to like a new level of the game, the level steps up. Like
Hmm.
it just gets harder and harder. Like it never gets easier, and I don't see it ever going back down. The levels are only going to go up.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. So let's look at that from a logical point of view. If you do you ride a bicycle?
yeah, I can ride a
Okay.
bicycle.
And before you rode a bicycle, did you ride a tricycle, like with the three wheels? Okay. So you're riding a tricycle, but if you rode a tricycle just forever, you'd never have got to ride a bicycle, right? And riding a tricycle as an adult, yes, it's trickier, right?
Yeah.
Right. Seeing things as leveling up or getting harder so that you level up, the perception you have right now, and I can see it easily from your childhood, is every time I achieve what I had to achieve, then there's something else. And there's always something else, and it always gets harder. So it's looking at it as the actual tasks themselves getting harder and harder, as opposed to the reason for doing the end result of tasks. If it didn't get harder and harder while you are training to be a doctor, you wouldn't be able to be a very good doctor, right? Or a doctor at all.
Yeah, true.
Here's another one. This actually is a better analogy. If you wanted to strengthen your muscles, you wouldn't staying with a 5 pound dumbbell is not going to get you strong.
Yeah.
It'll be easier. Sure, but it's easier because you've built the muscles to that point. Now, if you want stronger muscles, you need a heavier weight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is like every time something gets too hard to a point, I stop. Like I don't
Yeah.
give up. I don't really give up because I can't in certain situations, but I do stop or slow down.
And that's okay. It's okay to stop. It's okay to slow down. It's like you're lifting a weight and it's too heavy. You can feel you're straining a muscle. Then absolutely, you stop, you take a break, you give your muscles time to recover, and then you come back to it. And all of this is the same. It's absolutely okay to take a break. But I think that, from a child perspective, when the adults are demanding certain things, then depending on the references that child has, that child can keep thinking, well, if I do this, then they'll be happy with me. And they never are.
Yeah.
And so it could be coming from that as well. It gets harder and harder. So you can take a look at that, but see if the switch in just conscious perception
Mhm.
from the work is getting harder and I've got to try and keep up or improve or whatever, to it's just a slightly heavier weight and I need a slightly heavier weight to build my muscles strong. I need the work to get a little harder so that my brain, because remember that you're not approaching this harder work with the same brain. That's
Yeah.
very important to remember. Just
Yeah.
like you're not
Mm.
lifting the heavy weight with the old muscles.
Yeah.
So every moment that you are learning, your brain is physically changing. And so
Mhm.
when you get to the slightly harder stuff, you've got different neural networks that are prepared now for harder stuff. Does that
True.
help?
That helps. Yeah.
Good.
Because I think the thing is, I was discussing this with someone the other day, Camilla, and she was saying, we were saying that I think we put so much emphasis on the childhood memories that we kind of forget that it's just a tool to get to where you want to be. Your aim is obviously to rewrite your storyline, not just your childhood. And storyline could be coming from what you're saying to yourself every day as well. Like that's something I forget, which is crucial. It's like because I constantly have a narrator in my own head. Like I'm constantly
Mhm.
verbalizing things as I'm going along, which is fine. Like I like that about myself, but I
Yeah,
can change what I'm verbalizing in the moment too.
exactly. Exactly. And I have to admit that I have the same thing.
Yeah.
I
Everyone makes,
narrate my life as well. And I've changed what I'm saying in that
yeah,
narration.
yeah.
So, yes, that is such an excellent point. So, thank you so much to both of you for bringing that up because you're right. The childhood is the root. So, you have to prioritize changing that, but you need to consciously connect that as well. So, in other words, as you go about your day, starting to become aware of your conscious approach and focus and that kind of thing, putting it in alignment with the new childhood.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah. I will make
Good
sure I,
job, sweet.
yeah.
Excellent. And did you have another question?
And I think it kind of comes down to the same thing. So I felt very like timid and like I don't have enough power in
Mhm,
myself, but that was also coming from because I, as you were speaking, the you have to continuously please. That's coming.
mhm.
That is something. Every time I did something, it was like there was more, there was more. It was never enough. There was
Yeah.
never like a, yeah.
In addition to changing any of those memories, make sure you can also create memories where you are offering to do more and your parents are saying to you, no, no, don't worry, you don't have to do that. How would that feel?
Yeah, it feels good. Like sit and relax now.
That's right. So, in other words, you are offering to do more, or you're saying, oh, I should do such and such. And it's your parents that are saying the opposite to you. Don't worry, you go and play. We'll take care of it, or whatever. Or you're saying perhaps, oh, I didn't do as well as I wanted to on that test. And they're going, you did brilliantly. Life is about enjoying yourself.
Hmm. Okay.
Whatever that little you, that part of you needs to hear from them.
Right. Okay. So like, okay. So if a child, a child who completely believes in themselves, so you don't see it as like a child, but when they grow up, you see it, right?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they let themselves shine because of who they personally are.
Hmm.
Like what do they have? That's my question. What do they have that people who don't have that have?
Okay,
Like
that's a great
what
question.
happened in their childhood that makes them different?
Yes, that is an excellent question, Swasti. Thank you. There's a bottom line. So there will be infinite variations, and different details in that, and combinations of details. The bottom line will be a foundation of I'm safe.
Mhm.
Everything boils down to I'm safe. And what I'm safe means, and this is really important, is what I'm safe means doesn't mean I'm physically safe. It
Yeah.
means to the unconscious part of the brain, being safe means I know and I have proof that I am loved by the parents, these two people who are supposed to keep me alive. There's no doubt, clear. I am the most important thing to them. So, which to the unconscious part of the brain means if there's any danger, they're going to save me. They're going to prioritize saving me. If there's not enough resources, they're going to feed me first. So it's kind of but obviously not in so many words, but that's that unconscious instinct. So that is the bottom line. And then that is experienced through different types of details and experiences. So it could be a child whose parents are very calm and happy inside themselves, and they're comfortable with expressing affection, but they also allow the child to explore and all of that. So it all comes down to a foundational feeling of I'm always safe.
Right.
Does that help?
Yeah, because I feel like kids have this certain like they like certain things and you can see it, and then it gets to a certain point, or like if it gets to a certain point, if something happens in their childhood or in their teenage years, and then they stop, like they cover themselves up and they become a completely different person. And I was like, so what happened like in between? So yeah, that makes sense.
And the challenge with this is that whatever happened is not always obvious to anybody else. So that's where it can become difficult, because even parents can look at their child and go, what happened, and not know what happened. And it could be something that they don't know about it that happened inside that child. The child may not even know.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that help answer that question?
Yeah, yeah.
Very good. Good job, sweetheart. So how are you feeling now?
I feel good. These are some good like reiterations that I need. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. Good
Thank
job, you. Yay. All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much again for your questions. We really appreciate them. And that's it for this week. I will see you all again next Wednesday. Lots of love to all of you. Bye bye.